My background is that I started coding back in 1995. I was one of the first people doing web design, and I started freelancing. And after a few years, I started teaching at an Adobe Certified Training Center in New York City, where I lived at the time. And I started writing books on web design, and then I was writing for this e-zine sort of before blogs happened. And then out of the blue, I got a call from some guy in California who says he's a literary agent and he's looking for somebody to write a book. And so I'd never written a book before. And I'm like, sure, why not? So I started writing books on web design and written 9 books actually now, mostly for dummies books. And then the agent said, well, let's try and get you into video. So I started doing courses for design, like full courses on Photoshop, Dreamweaver, Illustrator, that kind of thing for this film and video trading company out of Chicago. And then about maybe 5 or 6 years ago, he said, what about lynda.com? I'm like, yes, I would love to work for lynda.com. So I started making training videos for them. And then in 2012, I started teaching full-time at a university. So my background is different. I'm like one of those right brain, left brain people where I really am concerned with aesthetics and fine art and the beauty of things, but I'm also really left brain. I love technology. I love puzzles. I love the internet. Like I owe my career to the internet because before it, I was just a miserable person working in corporate America. So I love what I do. I'm really excited about what I do. And one of the reasons I love teaching is that I get to teach other people who might be excited about the same thing and share that spark with them. Oh, so I didn't do this yet. Sorry about that for the live streamers. Hi. Anyway, there's all my details. If you want to get in touch with me, I'm really active on Twitter. I teach at a school called Marywood University, which is in Scranton, Pennsylvania. I do training on lynda.com, which is purchased by LinkedIn Learning. So you'll find me on both places there. And you can find all my links, bit.ly, find Lucky Chair, and my slides URL, because this version didn't update. I think you could find it on the page for my website, but I think it's bit.ly. Does anybody have that page open? It's bit.ly. I think it's like WordCamp -Sue 2018 or something like that, but it should be on my page for the conference. Okay, so moving ahead. The things that I want to talk about today are pretty much how I created a WordPress recruitment blog for my department at my university. Because, well, I'll get into the story later. We needed to start doing more to increase enrollment numbers. So the 3 key takeaways for today is I'll talk about how I use WordPress for this endeavor. I'll talk about the time commitment that it takes me to manage the blog. So if you're interested in doing recruitment on your own, then you have a good sense of what it might take to make this happen. And I think more importantly, I'll talk about the benefits of what a blog like this can bring, not only to the students, but also to prospective students. That's like the target audience, but as well to the university, the individual department, and whatever field it is, to that world. So, you know, if you were doing it for an engineering department, for all the people who are doing engineering, if you're doing it for, you know, nursing, whatever, everybody who's interested in that particular subject matter. So those are the 3 takeaways. I'm also going to throw in what I call Sue tips, because I like to put my name on everything. So Sue tips are things that will help you boost your workflow. So I take on a lot of big projects, a lot of things that I've never done before. I love saying yes. I love failing miserably and learning from my mistakes. So I'm going to throw in some things that hopefully can help you when you tackle your next big project. And anyway, so here's my tip number 1. Use what's useful. You know that saying, maybe you've heard of it before, take what you need and leave the rest. Have you heard that before? So when I'm tackling something new, I learn as much as I can about it, and I take what I need and I leave the rest. But I also believe that nothing is ever wasted. Like everything that we learn, it's going to come in handy someday. We may not know if it's going to come in handy now. It might be tomorrow, next week, next year, 10 years from now, but it's going to come in useful. So learn as much as you can, absorb it all like a sponge, use what you can use now, just let the other stuff sit in, the closet for a while of your mind, and it'll come in handy when you need it. So now I'm going to talk about how the party got started for me. And I'm going to paint a picture of what was happening when I started teaching full-time at the university in fall of 2012. So demographics were starting to decline. And this is nationwide, and I'm sure you all know it. So demographics are starting to decline. Enrollment is going down. It's just because there's not enough college-age students. And my university is pretty small, maybe 3,500 grad and undergrad combined. Lately, it's closer to under 3,000. So enrollment's going down. And because there's not enough students, budgets are being cut, right? This sounds familiar. Budgets are being cut. Then they started tapping into faculty benefits, also being cut. They put raises on hold. So everybody's pulling their extra weight. So they wanted individual departments at the university to start being responsible for recruitment. Now, as faculty, I know we're like savants. We're really good at what we do, but we may be really bad at other things. So to expect us to suddenly, because we're not the communication arts department, to expect us to suddenly take on the responsibility of recruitment is kind of cuckoo. But that's what was happening. So they want us to be not only the performers, but like the barkers and the ticket takers. Like, we have to do it all. And actually, while I read Medium a lot. This is just an aside. I read this interesting article about this guy who learned to refine his message by literally working as a sideshow barker. It was fascinating. So on this slide, the circus tent, if you click it, whether you're on my PowerPoint or the PDF that I put online, if you click it, it'll take you to that Medium article. Okay, so I'm junior faculty. I just get hired at this university. I've never worked in academia before. I don't really know how it works, but I'm used to like a corporate structure where you tell the people above you, hey, here's a problem that needs to be fixed, and then they do something about it. Well, that's not really how it worked. So I'm saying, we really need to be, if we're going to do recruitment, we really need to be where the students are. They're not answering emails. They're not making phone calls. They don't use their voicemail. So we need to be where they are. We need to be on social media. We need to be at least on Facebook before mom and dad took it over. We need to be on Facebook. We need to be on Twitter. Tumblr at the time was really popular. So, we need to be where they are. This is before Snapchat, before Instagram. And I slowly started to realize that despite me telling at our faculty meetings, talking to the chair, despite me saying, hey, we need to be on social media, that no one's going to do anything about it. And I realized really too, okay, I'm working with a bunch of fine artists who don't really use the computer besides the occasional email and a badly formatted Word document. It's hard for them. They lack incentive to learn about social media. And they truly believe that it's not their job. It's somebody else's job. So I got our department on Facebook and Twitter and Tumblr, and I started posting as often as I could. I'm one of those people, like, always have my phone with me. So I'm like, between classes, on breaks, I'm like posting stuff. The kinds of things that I was posting was relevant to my area. So calls for entry for art shows that don't cost anything. Art events happening on and off campus. We have several galleries, and there's always opening receptions. We have First Friday in Scranton, Pennsylvania. So the first Friday of every month, all the galleries downtown open up. So just really trying to let people know what's happening on and off campus. Then also sharing information that might be interesting to potential students. Our faculty are working professional artists. We have state-of-the-art facilities that rival some of the best schools in major cities. And because our student population is small, they have the run of the facilities. It's a really great deal, in the middle of Scranton, Pennsylvania. It's a really great deal, and that's why they should want to come here. So I'm sharing about all this stuff. And I chose Tumblr at the time because a lot of artists were using it to share their work. And it seemed like a good place, a safe place for students to share their work. You know, there's this security issue, like, do I put my stuff online? And who's going to steal my drawing, my illustration, my picture of my painting? But Tumblr seemed to be an okay place for students to put their stuff. I even wrote a dummies book on it. So I was really familiar with the platform, and I thought that would be a great place for us to start. So I started even this thing called the theme of the week. And I would say to the students, you know, submit your work and I'll pick a theme, something that would be interesting, something that you're learning about in your first and second year, like the principles and elements of art. It could be like line or color, proportion, balance, that kind of thing. Or we would sometimes, well, I always chose it. So sometimes like concept based, it could be silhouettes or the concept of play, just something that would get them interested. It could be a sketch, a doodle, a quick draft of something, or something they even made last semester, but just share it online. And I would write it on whiteboards in classrooms, and I put posters up around campus, and I tweeted and Facebooked it. And I really tried to get the message out. And I even send an email every week, every Monday, to the other faculty in my department, including all the adjuncts, saying, here's the theme of the week, please share it with your students. And sadly, the only students who ever participated in the theme of the week were my students, because I was the one who was saying, hey, participate in the theme of the week. And come on, you guys, let's do it. It only takes 2 seconds. Let's do it. And after like a year and a half, I'm like, this is stupid. Nobody's listening to me. I don't know why they can't just tell their students in their classes, please participate in the theme of the week. But I just gave it up. I'm like, done. I'm done. So I had to refocus my recruitment plan. Again, I'm junior faculty. If anyone's going to get let go, I'm on the chopping block first. So I have incentive to make sure that we have more students rolling in, because I don't have tenure. You know, I need to cover my butt, and I'm younger, I guess, and more motivated than some of the other tenured faculty to really do this stuff. So I reconsidered my recruitment strategy. And I started attending all the events that were happening on campus where potential students would be there. I went to open house. I went to transfer days. I know different universities call it different things. They have like student activity days. We do college for the day, where you can come and sit on classes and even spend the night in the dorms. We do tours with visiting high schools. Like anything I could get involved with, I went. And not only did I talk to the prospective students, but I talked to all the parents and family members, like whoever was there, teachers. I talked to them and I tried to figure out, what is it that you would want to know about a particular university before you decide to put that university, number one, on your visit list, and number two, on your application shortlist. And what I found really early on is that there's two distinct groups of concerns. So on the one hand, we've got all the parents and the family members, and they're really practical. They want to know about the cost and the value. So I know this is a lot of information on one slide, but it seems like good info. So parents, they want to know, how much is it going to cost to send my kid to this school? Do you have any scholarships? What about financial aid packages? A lot of schools will do sports packages. So if you play a sport for our school, we'll pay for your ride, that kind of thing. They also want to know about merit awards. Like, if my kid's really good at this thing, will you give us some money? They want to know about the job outlook. So I discovered really early, I need to know what the prospects are for kids who want to study art. Like, is it a dead end or not? It's not, actually. It's really good because it's creative, critical thinking, like one of the humanities. And then any hidden expenses. Do I have to buy my kid a laptop? If so, what kind? Should it be a Mac? Should it be PC? Do I need to buy any additional software or anything else? So parents. The other set of concerns are the students themselves. Completely different mindset. They want to know if they're going to fit in and if it's going to be fun for them. So they want to meet the faculty. They want to talk with current students. They want to know what it's like to live in the dorms. They want to know if the food is good and what's the best thing to eat. They want to know what kind of swag they can buy with the school's emblem on it from the bookstore. They want to see what kinds of fun activities are happening on and off campus. They want to know if they're going to fit in and if they're going to have a good time. They want to know if it's going to feel like a safe place for them to spread their wings in. So clearly two different sets of concerns. And if I want to create a recruitment blog, I need to make sure that I'm answering all of these questions for all these different people. So now at the time, WordPress, so this is fall of 2014, WordPress had 60% of the market share for CMS. As you can see at the time, Drupal and Joomla were much smaller. And I also discovered, I know somebody said yesterday, WordPress powers 31% of the web, but when I grabbed the statistic last week, it said 30%, not 31. But anyway, it's been really good. WordPress has been really good. And I know a lot of universities are switching over to it from Drupal or Joomla. And so I knew at the time that WordPress was going to be the right answer for this. I knew I needed some kind of dynamic features. I knew it needed to be easy to use. Believe it or not, some of the students had problems with Tumblr, a microblogging platform. So I'm thinking, well, I teach WordPress in my classes because I teach an interactive web, interactive media and web design class. And the students preferred WordPress over hand coding, like with Dreamweaver or some other tools. So I thought if I can teach my students how to do WordPress, I should be fine teaching the other art majors how to use it. Anyway, that was my thought. That was my plan. So I like to do lots of research when I'm starting a new project. And I discovered that, yeah, lots of schools, universities, public institutions, private institutions, they're using WordPress. And they're doing all kinds of things with it, like school websites, teacher blogs, student blogs, library blogs, e-portfolios, which I think are a really good thing, especially for art or anything where you need a portfolio, class websites. But the thing was, as good as that is, that's serving the current student population. And I really needed my recruitment blog to serve several different constituencies. And so, by the way, anytime I have statistics, I try to put the source of where I got it from on the slide there. So here's Sue tip number 2. When you're trying to figure something out, go into what I call discovery mode. You want to ask as many people as you can about the issue that you're looking to solve. And that includes not only talking to people, but I would say go to a library, talk to the librarians. Librarians are like awesome. They're an untapped resource. They're dying to talk to somebody intelligent. Go talk to a librarian. So browse Amazon, look at journals, scholarly journals, like gather as much info as you can, go into discovery mode. Again, nothing is wasted. So I will gather tons of stuff, even stuff, I'll go off on a side tangent and read about somebody who's a circus barker and how they refine their message. Like, I read a lot. I just love information. I love the idea of cross-pollination. You never know where you learn something and then like it's a perfect fit for over here. And that's where innovation comes in. And so I really love that. So this one study that I found, it was Teachers College of Columbia University, and it said that there was 4 key ingredients to a successful blog. Successful blogs need to be well-crafted and original and easily maintainable. That's really important. They should have some kind of authentic purpose. It shouldn't be anything that's too forced or fakey. It should be easy to identify with so that the readers really feel some kind of connection with it. And it should offer some sense of immediacy and intimacy. So that was a study of Teachers College. Now, this particular person who did this study, she got her PhD and started teaching at a university, and she took the study offline. So that link actually takes you to her personal webpage at the university that she works at. So I thought, yeah, all that was doable. I could do those things. I could have a successful blog. I can hit all those points. But I knew that my blog needed to do more than that. It had to serve as a recruitment tool. First and foremost, I really needed to reach out to prospective students and their families. I also wanted to promote student bonding among the students who were already there. Each cohort that comes in, they feel an affinity with one another, especially at my university in the art department. They take what's called foundation year. They're all taking the same classes together in that first year. So I want to build that sense of bonding between those people, between classmates, because you may have different students in different classes. I wanted to celebrate as well the successes of our alumni and our faculty, whom I said they're all working professional artists and they have lots of success. You know, some people write academic papers and they go to conferences. Others might have, a solo show in Manhattan. So we want to make sure that the students know what it's like to be a working professional artist in addition to being a teacher of art. So that was important. I also wanted the blog to establish some kind of a personal connection, to talk about what it's like to be on the artist journey. A couple people so far during the conference have talked about imposter syndrome. How many of us have experienced that before, right? Artists especially feel like imposters. One of the hardest things for them to do, especially in their first or second year of college, is to say, I am an artist, and to really believe that and own it. So for them to be able to read something and identify, like, oh, that's me, that's going to help them feel more confident about what it is that they're striving to do. I also wanted the blog to become a resource so that people around the world could find information there. You know, we have an art history blogger, and someone's perspective about a particular art piece that they saw, say, at the Philadelphia Museum of Art, it could really span across the globe and inspire somebody around the world to create something new and unique, or share about an artist that they've never heard of before. So now I have a big set of goals in front of me. Not really sure how I'm going to handle this. And then around the same time, we're still talking fall 2014, I discovered that the Comm Arts department at our university had just created a news and recruitment blog called Frame Your Future. And the goal with that was to give their journalism students experience writing, but they gave them practicum credit for doing it. There was like 8 coveted spots. It was a big deal to be able to write for Frame Your Future, and then the students get practicum. So do art majors get practicum credit? No. And especially at a small school, I mean, we're lucky if we can give internships to everyone in each discipline. We're in the middle of nowhere, essentially. There's not a lot of working artists in and around Scranton. So I looked over their blog. I really liked the concept of it, but I knew I needed to come up with something different, because no internship credit, no credit for practicum. But I knew that if I just thought about it long enough, I could create something that was equally valuable, if not more so. It's just a matter of thinking about it. I always think about like that Apollo mission where like there's like 5 people or 10 people in a room, and they had like a coat hanger, and they had to come up with a solution, and they did. So that's kind of where my head was at. Like, how do I figure this out? Excellent puzzle. So I wanted to create something that would feel like it was talking directly to the students. And I found this other article on versation.com, and it said, my quote marks are there because this is an older version, but I put little fancy quote marks around this. So it said, connecting prospects with current students helps to raise conversion rates. So how do I make this personal connection between our readers, our prospective students, through the interwebs? How do I do that? So the idea is I need to create some kind of emotional connection. I need it to be authentic and honest, and still talk about the artist's journey in the student's own words. So it's not like an adult who has an advanced degree saying art school is really great, but some student who's saying, yeah, I'm really struggling with shading, or I'm really digging color theory, or whatever it is. So now I have this even bigger goal, which is to add sort of this emotional component to the blog. So does anybody want to guess what my biggest challenge for this is? For creating this monster of a recruitment blog? I put some hints on screen. Anybody want to guess? Development. Anybody else want to guess something different? Biggest challenge in creating it? People. Yeah. Anybody else?
Finding topics.
Finding topics. That's a good point. And what I did was get somebody from each area and they would talk about that area. So the ceramics blogger would talk about ceramics, the painting blogger would talk. It's actually people. How the heck am I going to find student bloggers who hate writing, by the way, to volunteer their time, which they have none, right? Because they're taking a full academic load and probably working on top of it, to write about something that they're not confident about every week. So this is a huge challenge. So tip number 3, when you have a huge challenge, I say brainstorm the crap out of it. And the best way I do that is this is my secret weapon for everything I have never done before and take on, is I sit down and I ask myself questions from different people's perspective. What would I want to know if I was a student who wanted to possibly come here? What would I want to know if I was mom or dad who wanted to send their kid here? Maybe, maybe not. What would I want to know if I was a struggling artist and I can't afford to go to college, and so I learn everything I can by surfing the internet? What would I want to know about the school? You know, just practical questions about whatever the topic is. So brainstorm the crap out of it. So I write down all my questions and I just go nuts. I ask all kinds of things. And then I sit down and I start answering them. It's kind of magical how you probably already know the answer to a lot of your own questions. And if you don't know the answer, it's easy to go finding the answer just by searching and talking to people and Googling. Google is your friend. When my son was little, he used to say Googles. He called it Googles, so I like to call it Googles. So Googles is your friend. So some of the questions I came up with, you know, what's the focus for the blog? What should the primary goal be? What should the focus be? How many posts should we do every day? And then what time should we post them? How are we doing? Good. All right. What other information should be on the website that potential visitors might want to know? How can I make the bloggers more relatable? What else would make the blog interesting? So practical questions about content. But I also wanted to know, what are the benefits? Because if I don't have a clear idea of what the benefits are, there's no way any student's going to say yes to me. So I need to know, what are the benefits for the students who volunteer their time to do this service learning activity? What are the benefits for the editor-in-chief or chiefs, if you're lucky enough to have more than one? What about the benefits for the school, for the department, for the university, and for the community at large in whatever subject matter that you're teaching? Around this time, I also decided that to make this seem more legit, that I should come up with like a real recruitment plan. So I made a recruitment manual, I wrote everything out. I came up with a blogger application form and a blogger bio form, as well as a blogger manual, so that they would know what they needed to do if they were to accept this very important role. And so over the course of winter break, December 2014, I put this all together. It took me about 35 to 40 hours to do everything. Now, mind you, I also run my own freelance business, freelance design company, which I've done for like 20 years now. So I approached this like a client project, except for I had to do both sides of it. Like I had to make all the high level decisions about my customer, who is me, my university, my department. So I made these cards that I passed out, and I did all the UX. I figured out who my target audience was. I wrote all the stuff about the blogging manuals, made all the high level decisions. I picked a theme and designed a logo, wrote all the copy, took most of the photographs. I have an MFA in photography, so I took most of the photographs and I put it all together. And so if you're ever in a position where you have to make a high level decision and then you're like, I don't know, what do I do? Just make it. That's also another really great Sue tip, which I didn't put in here, but just make a decision. You can always change it later. It's better to have something, even if it's sucky, than have nothing and then, bang your head in the wall going, I don't know. Just make a decision, change it later. So I put it all together. And while I'm putting it together, I'm also developing my recruitment plan for my bloggers. budget-wise, I had this much money to put this together. And at the time, IT and marketing were not playing nice. And I asked IT if they would host a full install of WordPress for me. And guess what they said? No. If we say yes to you, we're going to have to say yes to everyone, and then we're going to have to manage it, and then people are going to want to have their website, their department websites on this, and it's going to open up big can of worms, and no, we're not going to do it. So I had to go with a constraint. Here's another cool aside. There's a Lars von Trier movie about 5 constraints where he makes a movie about another filmmaker who made a film that was really popular, and he puts constraints on this other filmmaker and says, remake that film using these constraints. And they do it 5 times. It's fascinating. So, sometimes the best ingenuity comes out of having to work with really sucky circumstances. So I did what I could. I used WordPress.com, free hosting, and I had to use the subdomain. Okay. After a year, and the recruitment blog proved to be a valuable tool for our department, I got them to cough up the $100 for the annual fee for 13 megabytes. And within a year, we maxed that out, and I got them to kick in a little bit more through the dean's special budget to pay for the full unlimited storage space. I wanted the regular domain name, and the person who has that is some city in Georgia. And I've emailed them and I've called them like 3 or 4 times. I'm like, can I please have that? For my university, it's for the blog. They're like, nah. We have some ideas for that. So if anybody of you know Catherine Lee from the city of Decatur in Georgia, let me know if you can help me. Yeah, because I really would like to have that. Oops, I went too far. No, I did not. Okay, so I already told you I made all that stuff to make it legit. And tip number 4 is when you're making decisions about something, you need to define what your needs are, but you also want to plan for growth. So don't just stop with, we're going to do this thing. You want to say, we're going to do this thing, and then we're going to do this, and then we're going to do this, and then we're going to do this. Knowing the whole time you can reassess, like nothing's written in stone. But if you have some aspirational goals to work towards, it's going to help a lot to sell your story to whoever you need to sell it to. And things can grow organically as well as intentionally. So again, I know this slide has a lot of information, but here was what my plan was. In the first year, I would start with all the bloggers in the areas that we grant degrees in, the tracks that we grant. So 1 person in painting, 1 in sculpture, 1 in graphic design, illustration. Those people will write about their area. I also wanted to add 1 monthly faculty blog post. So an art faculty would talk about an art-related success. I also wanted to do once a month alumni story, someone who's successfully working in the field after graduating from our university. I wanted to do on and off campus art news, because plenty of things happen both on and off campus. And we do bus trips to New York and Philadelphia, things like that. So they could talk about whatever they do, even if they go see a little gallery or something. And then I also wanted to do jobs and internships, because I thought that would be important that the students and parents would want to know about. So remember, I'm doing this for potential students, but also for current students who could use this as a resource and connect that cohort sensibility. In year 2, I added 2 more bloggers for minors that we don't offer majors in, so art history and printmaking. And then I added student spotlight so that we could focus on current students. So that's also when parents and families come to open house, I could say, that could be your kid. We could be featuring your kid on our student spotlight. And they go, oh, my kid, online, on the internet. Year 3 was a reassessment year for me. So I looked at all the roles, and then I decided what, if anything, needed to change. And I had some dual roles, and I kind of split those apart and added 1 more. Year 4, I probably will focus on lightening my personal load, because I'm the only one in my department who does this. This is all me, and it's a lot of extra work, and I'll talk about how much time it takes me. Blogger commitments. I let them blog for 1, 2, or 3 semesters at a time. So it's very flexible. They're supposed to write once a week, every week for their term. It's 250 words plus the graphics, and they're supposed to deliver on time, every time, with very little oversight. That's the goal. That's what I start with. And I tell them that. That's what my expectations are. As far as finding bloggers, I strive for inclusivity. My university used to be a women's college, and in the 1970s, they became a co-ed college, and then in the 80s, they became a university, but our student population is still pretty high male to female or female to male ratio. It's like 60-40, sometimes 70-30. So I try to get the guys involved. And I try to make sure that we have as many different voices as possible. I want to get students who are good at expressing themselves, but I don't discount someone from being a blogger if they're maybe English as a second language or they're not good at English. I wasn't actually. I failed my English placement proficiency exam, and I had an AP class, not AP, what do you call it? Dummy English. And that's where I learned to write. So I'm grateful that the system kind of caught me. Anyway, I'm the faculty sponsor for the art club, the Art Honor Society at my school. So I had a ready pool of applicants that I could pull from. You know, they have to have a certain GPA to even belong to the Honor Society. So I had all those students. I also teach a foundation year class in computer graphics. So I knew pretty much everybody in my department who comes through. I get to meet most of them. So I could pull from them, and also the students who are in my major, web, graphic design, illustration students in that area. As far as training goes, I would do an in-person meeting at the beginning just to assess what their interest level was, maybe what their level of commitment was, to see if they were really excited or just kind of meh. If they're not that into it, I'll say, you know what, maybe this isn't for you, but think about it, you know, goodbye, and I'll be on to the next person. So meet in person to assess whether or not that it's like an excitement level, there's a good fit. And then I would offer individual or group training in WordPress and Photoshop to teach them what they need to know to write blog posts. And then any follow-up, I would do video chat or by email or in person during office hours or even off office hours, whatever I needed to do to help them get up to speed. So I would say I spend maybe 5 to 10 hours a semester doing training, which is really not the most efficient thing to do because every semester there's new people and I'm doing the same thing over and over again. So it's not efficient for me personally. And I'm on a lot of committees. I teach, I run my own freelance business. I make courses. I do a lot of different things. So I really don't have time to spare this kind of thing. So tip number 5, streamline your workflow. Get rid of any redundancies that you can. And so that's what I did last spring. I created what I call tutorial videos. There's my thing again. I got Camtasia and I recorded 3 little 10-minute videos. First, sort of the history of the blog and why it's important and why I'm so appreciative that you, potential blogger, have chosen to accept this mission. Here's how to use WordPress. Here's what you'll be doing. You can refer back to this video anytime if you forget how to do something. And 3, here's how you optimize your graphics and size your images and make sure they're not like 300 DPI and a zillion pixels wide and they're RGB and everything else. So now I have all my students watching those and I love it because I don't have to be there for that part. And it's just me, like this, like blah, 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 talking, and they get my personality and the whole thing that they would have gotten in person. So now I don't do that anymore. And that's been lovely. So most bloggers will choose a 1-year commitment before they pass on the baton to somebody else. And that means my overturn is roughly 2 to 6 bloggers a semester. It's not that bad. And sometimes I'll have somebody blog a little bit longer. Like we had one major that had only one area that had one major for a year and a half before new majors came in. And so she blogged for 2 years, which was fine by me. She was a great blogger. So now we'll talk about time management. So different timetables for different people. The bloggers can expect to take about 1 hour to do the training and then get set up because they need to create a WordPress.com account. And then I teach them that they can do whatever they want with that blog or ignore it. And then I invite them to be part of the WordPress.com blog, and then they can start doing their posts. For myself, I talked about it took me 35, 40 hours to build the thing in the first place. I was doing several hours every semester of training, but now I don't do that. About once a week, I will put in a couple hours to read all the posts students are saying, fix grammatical issues. A lot of people do, like me, I'm lazy, say it into my phone and hope for the best. So sometimes there'll be a little I instead of a capital I. Fix that kind of stuff. And I will email them if there's anything weird, like you forgot your featured image, you forgot to put your tags and your categories in there. What the heck do you mean by this sentence? This doesn't make sense to me. So I have 24 hours to go and correct it. And then I schedule all the blog posts for publication and I walk away, I'm done for the week. That takes me a couple hours a week. Anyway, I also do sometimes image editing, because sometimes I will put a gigantic image up there or an image that's the wrong size and then it gets cut off on the homepage, which annoys me. I also manage all the faculty posts, do regular site maintenance, make sure all the content is up to date, and provide art direction so everything's visually consistent. All right, so now quick blog overview. Because we're an art department, I wanted the focus to be on graphics. So I chose the Pictorico theme by Automatic. And this is what people see when they come to the homepage. So there's the logo and the nav bar, search option, and then a grid of images, which highlights whatever image the student happened to use. At the footer of the page is information about where they can get in touch with us if they want to come and schedule a campus visit, all of our posts by topic, how to follow us by email on WordPress, all of our links online on social media, and navigation links to explore the site and archives. When you hover or press on one of the squares on the homepage, the title of the post shows up along with the publication date. And when you tap or click it, it will take you to the actual post itself. And this theme has a nice big landscape image with an overlay where the title goes. It'll say the name of the blogger and the date it was published, and then they could put additional information. So on the side here, I put sort of a screenshot of what the whole page looks like. So they can put up to 6 images, additional images along with their text. Or if they're doing a DIY, some kind of tutorial thing, I'll allow for more images. And then they usually try to invite other students to, or whoever's reading, to respond so that they can create a dialogue. Other information on the website, I have information on careers in the arts, which parents are really interested in, and teachers too. We have a downloadable poster, how to connect with us online, information about our facilities and our faculty and our study abroad program. We go to Italy mostly, but we also go to other places. And then there's information for students about art opportunities on and off campus and clubs and things that they can join and get excited about coming to our university. We also have a dedicated page for the bloggers where we feature all of the bloggers who are currently writing, and as also linked to past bloggers and to show our appreciation so that students could put this on their resume. And even if they graduated 3 years ago, they could still say, hey, potential employer, I did this, and come and read my stuff. And then we also have individual bloggers. So everybody fills out the blogger bio, and I have them take pictures of themselves or a friend in front of the same place. So they're all similar but different. And then they answer all these questions. Who are you? What's your name? When are you graduating? What's your major? Are you minoring anything? Why did you choose this school? You know, what makes you excited about studying art? Just some basic questions to get to know them a little bit more. And then at the bottom is a link to all the posts that they have written so that somebody wants to read more by a particular blogger, they can. So for a small university, a small little blogette, it has a lot of information on it, which I think does a pretty good job about doing what I needed to do. So in just 3.5 years, we have over 1,800 unique followers just on WordPress alone. And because we share, I linked up WordPress, so it goes out on Facebook and it goes out on Twitter. And now I use Tumblr as a repository for this. So it goes out everywhere. And because of that, those numbers have also risen. So we're pretty much wherever the kids happen to be. Some people are like, I'm not doing Facebook. That's where my mom is, you know. So if they're on Twitter or wherever, they're mostly on Snapchat these days, but I haven't done anything with Snapchat. We have over 650 posts per year with over 4,500 average views each month, over 11,000 total visitors, and 111,000 total views around the world. So we're not just Pennsylvania or the East Coast. We're pretty much everywhere. I have a lot of followers in Colorado for some reason. I'm not sure why. But every once in a while, I'll go look at the stats and go, where are people from? You know, it might be like one person in Korea. Yay. So here's the last little bit, benefits. I used to work with a woman who was a freelance copywriter, and she would say, I want to know what the bennies are. Let's talk bennies. So benefits, there's lots of benefits for different people, whether you're a student, you're an editor, the department of the university, or the community at large. So bloggers, sweet line item on their resume, but it's service learning. They're improving their critical thinking skills through reflective writing. They're engaging with anyone who responds to them and having this dialogue. They're serving as mentors for underclassmen and their peers. They get to share their experience and be role models. So it's a really nice, valuable experience for them. They improve their writing, which is really important as an artist. You need to be able to speak effectively about what you're doing and what you see. Not everybody needs to become a teacher to make a living as a working artist, but you have to be able to communicate effectively. So that's what the students get out of it. For me, yeah, it's a line item on my CV, and I put it under my service to the community for my faculty activity report. I get to serve as art director. I really like that part. But most of all, I personally do it because I love meeting the students. I love training. I love serving as a role model and a mentor, because I didn't know that you could do that when I was an undergraduate. I was really shy. And if somebody was like me to say, hey, you can do all this stuff as an undergraduate, I'd be like, really? I could have made a huge difference in my life experience if I had someone like me helping. So I like to be that for the students. For my department, it's a really useful recruitment tool. We support not only current students, but potential students and their families. We support alumni and our faculty. And we get to promote things that are happening on campus and off campus, and really just get to be a bullhorn for what we have to offer. And then we're contributing to the global dialogue, digital dialogue about the arts, which I think is really cool. A lot of people have you ever heard of outsider artists? People who grew up in maybe rural areas that don't have any experience with art, but they make things. And this could be potentially a resource for them. So the three things that I talked to you about today was how I use WordPress to create a recruitment blog for my university, talk about the time commitment, not only for myself as the editor-in-chief, but what students can expect to put into something like this, and then just shared about the benefits for everybody involved. It's a lovely experience for me to be sort of the incubator for all of this and to see it grow like one of my little babies. I'm really proud of it, and I truly believe that that anybody could do this for their individual department for any subject, really. I also threw in some bonus Sue tips that hopefully can help you with some big projects that you have coming along. You know, take what you need and leave the rest if it's not applicable to you. I will not be bothered in any way. So anyway, recruitment tool supports everybody, blah, blah, blah. You heard me say all that. And just want to say thank you so much for having me speak here. Again, all my contact information is there, and can leave me some session feedback. Thank you.